Hello, very good morning and welcome to Athavan newspaper highlights. Today, Thursday, 15th of December 2016. This is Edward with the highlights of today's English newspapers. As usual, we have three newspapers for the highlights: Daily Mirror, Daily News and Ceylon Today. Firstly, let's have a look on the Daily Mirror. The main headline says, 7 points court order against Hambantota protest. Protesters abide but saying continue to strike at different place. The Hambantota Magistrates Court yesterday issued an order containing 7 conditions to stop the protest and satyagraha by the Hambantota port employees as it hampered the activities of the port. Protesters not to block the entrance to the port, not to damage the vessels calling at the port and sailing from the port, not to intimidate the police and naval personnel arriving at the port, provide any apparatus or keys required for the port activities when demanded by the responsible officials without any delay, not to damage any property of the port, not to obstruct any trade union action of the port's authority, not to use property of the port for any trade union action. Venerable Galboda Nyanisara Thera says, elements working against peace. Situation in the country had become so bad that it had become difficult to carry out social work. Chief incumbent of the Hunupitiya Gangarama Viharaya Venerable Galboda Nyanisara Thera yesterday said the recent incidents regarding the Navy commander and the IGP were ones that were carefully brewed by interested persons to destabilize the administration of the country. Report on Hambantota Port incident handed over. I need to study the report and then I will take necessary steps. The Navy had handed over its report on Saturday's incident at the Hambantota port where the Navy commander had allegedly attacked on a journalist to Defence Secretary Karunasena Hettiarachchi yesterday. Was President informed of port sale? Asks joint opposition. The joint opposition yesterday questioned whether President Maithripala Sirisena, the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, was informed of the agreement signed to sell 80% of shares of the Hambantota port to a Chinese firm. Secondly, let's move to Daily News. Arjuna issues ultimatum to strikers. Report today or lose jobs. Will recruit new hands from Hambantota. Colombo port workers on temporary duty until then. Ports and Shipping Minister Arjuna Ranatunga yesterday set an ultimatum to the employees who are carrying out a protest at the Hambantota port to report to work by 2 p.m. today or be treated as having vacated their posts. Speaking to the media yesterday in Colombo, Minister Ranatunga said that in the event of the posts being vacated, his ministry is prepared to recruit new employees to fill in the vacancies. Tajikistan President meets Premier Speaker. President of the Republic of Tajikistan, Emomali Rahmon, on a 3-day state visit to Sri Lanka, called on Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and Speaker Karu Jayasuriya yesterday. The Tajik president, who arrived in Sri Lanka on Monday, called on Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday at the Hilton Colombo, where they held bilateral discussions of mutual benefit. Tajik President Rahmon later called on Speaker Karu Jayasuriya in Colombo. He had earlier met with President Maithripala Sirisena, where the two countries signed 4 bilateral agreements. The Tajikistan leader left the island yesterday. Missing Siripada pilgrims rescued. The Special Task Force of the police rescued the 5 pilgrims who had lost their way while making the pilgrimage to the top of Siripada. The 5 had entered the Siripada Forest Reserve through the upper division of the Laksapan estate on Monday but lost their bearings soon after. Finally, let's move to Ceylon Today. Shipping lines declare Hambantota harbour unsafe. Minister of Ports and Shipping Arjuna Ranatunga claimed that several foreign shipping lines have declared the Magampura harbour in Hambantota as a risk zone for shipping activities. Minister Ranatunga, speaking to media yesterday, claimed that following last Saturday's incident, several insurance companies of the foreign shipping lines that frequently visit the Hambantota harbour had declared last Tuesday that the Hambantota harbour was unsafe for ships. Tajuddin murder, CID probing VIP vehicle. The Criminal Investigation Department yesterday informed the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court that a special investigation will be launched to establish facts about a VIP vehicle which is said to have followed the vehicle of rugby player Mohammad Wasim Tajuddin on the day he was brutally murdered in Narayanpeta. The CID said in court that important information has been received regarding this vehicle, which had followed the ill-fated vehicle in which Tajuddin's charred body had been discovered. 6 major fraud reports sent to President. H.W. Gunadasa, Secretary to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate and inquire into serious acts of fraud, corruption and abuse of power, state resources and privileges, said investigations into 171 complaints of a serious fraud and corruption have been completed and 6 reports on these investigations have been submitted to President Maithripala Sirisena. With that, let's come to an end of today's paper highlights. We will come with more news tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening to Athavan Newspaper Highlights.